My girlfriend posted, "Finally bought my dream car." I smiled because it was actually my car, registered under her name using fake documents. I didn't fight. I just called the cops. When she got pulled over in front of her friends, her dream car turned into a police exhibit. I'm 31, work as a financial analyst at a mid-size firm, and I make decent money. Not wealthy, but comfortable. I've always been careful with finances, save aggressively, invest smart. 3 years ago, I met Jessica at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was 28, worked in marketing, had this infectious energy that pulled people in. We clicked immediately. 6 months later, she moved into my place. Here's the thing about Jessica. She had expensive taste, but an entry-level salary, designer bags, luxury skincare, weekend trips to wine country. I didn't mind helping out at first. I paid for most dinners, covered utilities, bought groceries. She contributed maybe 30% to household expenses, and I told myself it was fine because I made more. That's what you do in a relationship, right? About a year into living together, I decided to buy a car. Not just any car, a Tesla Model S. I'd been saving for it for 3 years, had the down payment ready, got approved for an excellent interest rate. It was my dream car since college. The day I went to the dealership, Jessica came with me. "This is so exciting," she kept saying, filming everything on her phone. "We're getting a Tesla." I noticed the "we," but didn't think much of it. We test drove it, I signed the papers, and we drove it home. Jessica immediately posted photos on Instagram, sitting in the driver's seat. Caption, "New ride, new adventures." Not, "Boyfriend got a new car," or "Look what he bought," just implied ownership. Again, I let it slide. Couples share cars. It wasn't a big deal. Things started getting weird about 2 months after I bought the car. Jessica began driving it to work every day while I took the bus or used my old Honda Civic that I'd kept as a backup. When I asked if I could take the Tesla one morning because I had an important client meeting, she got defensive. "I have a presentation today. I need to look professional," she said. "It's my car, Jess." "Our car," she corrected. "We're partners." "What's yours is mine, right?" I stared at her. "I paid for it. It's registered in my name. Legally, it's my car." She went quiet, grabbed the keys, and left. That night, she apologized, said she was stressed about work, that she didn't mean to be possessive. I accepted the apology. Looking back, that was my first mistake. 3 months ago, I noticed something strange. I'd been checking my insurance account online, and the Tesla wasn't listed anymore. I called the insurance company, assuming it was a technical glitch. "Sir, that vehicle was removed from your policy on March 15th, the rep told me. "By who?" "According to our records, the policyholder called and said they were transferring ownership." My stomach dropped. "I didn't call you. I'm the only person on this policy. Let me pull up the recording." There was a pause. "It appears to be a female voice claiming to be calling on your behalf with your authorization." I hung up and immediately checked the DMV records online. My Tesla was no longer registered to me. It was registered to Jessica Martin, my girlfriend. I sat there at my desk at work, unable to process what I was seeing. I logged into my bank account, checked the loan payments, still coming out of my account. Every month, $847, like clockwork. But the car wasn't mine anymore. Legally, I was paying for Jessica's car. That evening I came home early. Jessica wasn't there. I went through the filing cabinet where we kept important documents. The original title, the one with my name on it, was gone. In its place was a new title with her name, dated 6 weeks prior. I called the DMV and asked how a title transfer could happen without my signature. The woman on the phone said it couldn't, unless all parties were present or proper documentation was submitted. "What documentation was submitted for this transfer?" She looked it up. "A bill of sale and a release of interest form signed by you." "I never signed anything." "Sir, we have documents with your signature on file. Can you email me copies?" She did. I looked at the signatures. They were forged, not even good forgeries. My real signature has a very specific way I loop the H in my last name. These didn't have that loop. I called a lawyer that same day. His name was Robert Chen, came highly recommended. I explained the situation over the phone, sent him the documents. "This is fraud," he said immediately. "Document fraud, identity theft, and potentially grand theft auto depending on the value of the vehicle. You need to file a police report. What happens to her if I do that? If the DA decides to prosecute, she could face felony charges, prison time depending on her record and how the judge sees it." I sat with that information for a while. Part of me wanted to confront her first, give her a chance to explain. But another part, the part that had just discovered my girlfriend of 3 years, had committed multiple felonies against me, wanted justice. I didn't confront her. Instead, I started documenting everything. I took photos of the forged documents, saved emails, backed up bank statements showing I'd been making the payments. Then I called the police non-emergency line. 2 days later, I met with a detective named Morrison. She was in her 40s, no-nonsense type. I showed her everything. "This is pretty clear-cut," she said. "Have you confronted the suspect?" "No, she doesn't know I know." "Good. Keep it that way. We're going to need to verify some things, talk to the DMV, but this should move quickly. In the meantime, do you know where the vehicle is?" "She drives it to work every day, parks it in the lot at her office building." Morrison nodded. "We'll coordinate with you. When we're ready to make contact, we'll let you know." That was a Wednesday. On Friday morning, Jessica posted on Instagram, "Finally bought my dream car. Hard work pays off," with a photo of her standing next to my Tesla in a parking lot, surrounded by 3 of her friends. I saw the post during my lunch break. My hands were shaking. Bought. She said she bought it. Not only had she stolen it, forged documents, and transferred ownership, but she was now publicly claiming she'd purchased it herself. I called Detective Morrison. "She just posted on social media claiming she bought the car." "Perfect. That helps establish intent. We're ready to move on this. Is she at work right now?" "Should be, yeah." "We'll have a unit there in 30 minutes. You should probably not be home tonight when she gets back." "What's going to happen?" "We're going to pull her over, verify the VIN, confirm the fraudulent registration, and place her under arrest. The vehicle will be impounded as evidence." I left work early and went to Marcus's apartment. Marcus is my best friend, has been since college. I told him everything. He looked at me like I'd grown a second head. "She forged your signature? On title documents?" "Yep." "And she's been posting photos like it's her car this whole time?" "Yep." "Man, that's sociopathic." Around 4:45 p.m., Detective Morrison called me. "Subject is in custody. Vehicle is being towed to the impound lot. You'll need to come down to the station to give a formal statement, but the arrest has been made." "What did she say?" "Not much. She claimed the car was a gift. When we pointed out that gifts don't require forged documents, she asked for a lawyer. I thanked her and hung up. My phone immediately started blowing up. Jessica's friends were tagging me on Instagram, asking what happened. Apparently, she'd been pulled over right in front of them, still in the parking lot where she'd taken that photo. They'd watched the whole thing, her getting handcuffed, the car being towed. Someone had even filmed it. That night, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered. "You called the cops on me?" Jessica was crying. "Are you serious right now? You stole my car and forged legal documents." "I didn't steal anything. We're together. Couples share things." "Couples don't commit felonies, Jessica. You changed the title without my knowledge or permission. That's fraud." "This is insane. You're going to send me to jail over a car?" "You sent yourself to jail. I'm just the person who stopped paying for something I didn't own anymore." She was screaming now. "I can't believe you. After everything we've been through. 3 years, and this is how you treat me. How I treat you. You literally stole from me." The line went dead. She'd hung up. Update 1. Jessica made bail the next morning. Her parents paid for it, apparently. They also paid for her lawyer, some guy named Richard Paulson, who immediately started calling me. My client is willing to return the vehicle and all associated documents if you drop the charges, he said. No. Mr. Hayes, this could be resolved without destroying a young woman's future. Your client committed multiple felonies. She forged my signature, filed false documents with the state, and defrauded an insurance company. This isn't a misunderstanding. The DA might see it differently. Domestic situations are complicated. Then let the DA decide. I'm not dropping anything. He tried a few more times to negotiate, but I held firm. Meanwhile, Jessica was blowing up social media with a very different story. According to her Instagram and Facebook posts, I was an abusive, controlling ex-boyfriend who had her arrested out of spite. She claimed the car had been a gift, that I'd verbally given it to her, and that I was using the legal system to harass her. Her friends ate it up. I started getting nasty messages. People I barely knew were calling me manipulative, calling me a liar. One of her coworkers found my work email and sent a long message about how I was ruining an innocent woman's life. I didn't respond to any of it. Robert, my lawyer, advised me to stay silent, let the legal system work. 2 weeks after her arrest, Jessica showed up at my apartment. I saw her through the peephole and didn't open the door. I know you're in there, she called out. Please, we need to talk about this. I called Robert. He told me to call the police if she didn't leave. I knocked on the door from the inside and said, Jessica, you need to leave. We're not talking. Just hear me out. 5 minutes. No. You committed crimes against me. We have nothing to discuss. I made a mistake. I was going to tell you. I just needed time. Time for what? To enjoy driving around in a car you stole? She was crying now. It wasn't like that. I wanted something that felt like mine. Everything in our relationship was yours. Your apartment, your money, your decisions. I just wanted one thing that felt like it was mine. I opened the door a crack, chain still on. So you stole a $40,000 car. I was going to pay you back eventually. I was going to, I don't know, make payments to you or something. With what money, Jess? You barely cover your own expenses. She had no answer for that. She stood there crying, mascara running down her face. Part of me felt bad, but a bigger part remembered those forged signatures, those legal documents, the months of deception. You need to leave, I said. If you don't, I'm calling the police. She left. Update 2. The preliminary hearing was set for 6 weeks after her arrest. In that time, Jessica's lawyer tried everything. They claimed I'd verbally gifted her the car. They claimed we'd had an understanding that the car was ours. They even tried to claim I'd given her permission to register it in her name for insurance purposes. The DA shut all of it down. The evidence was overwhelming. Forged signatures, fraudulent documents, my consistent loan payments, and that Instagram post where she explicitly claimed she'd bought the car. Her own words buried her. During this time, I had to deal with the fallout in my social circle. A lot of mutual friends took her side. They thought I was being vindictive, that I should have just handled it privately. One friend, David, actually called me a jerk for letting her get arrested. You could have just taken the car back, he said. You didn't have to involve the cops. She committed fraud, David. Multiple felonies. It's a car, man. You're really going to ruin her life over a car? She ruined her own life by committing crimes. We're not friends anymore. At the hearing, Jessica's lawyer tried to get the charges reduced to a misdemeanor. The judge wasn't having it. The case was going to trial unless she took a plea deal. The DA offered her a deal: plead guilty to 1 count of document fraud and 1 count of identity theft, 2 years probation, restitution, and community service. No jail time if she stayed clean. Her lawyer tried to get her to take it. She refused. She wanted to fight it, convinced a jury would see her side of things. Robert looked at me after the hearing. She's making a mistake. If this goes to trial and she loses, the judge could give her actual prison time. That's her choice, I said. Update 3. The trial was set for 3 months later. In the meantime, my Tesla was still sitting in an impound lot, accumulating fees. I was still making loan payments on it. The whole situation was absurd. I started seeing someone new around this time. Her name was Lauren, a colleague from a different department. She knew about the Jessica situation. Everyone at work did by then. On our third date, I told her the whole story. "That's insane," she said. "She really thought she'd get away with it?" "I think she thought I'd never check, or that I'd just accept it eventually. That's not how property works." "No, it's not. Lauren was great, straightforward, honest, had her own money and her own life. Being with her made me realize how unhealthy things had been with Jessica." Meanwhile, Jessica was spiraling. According to mutual friends who still talked to me, she'd lost her job. Apparently, having pending felony charges doesn't look great when you work in corporate marketing. She'd moved back in with her parents, was working part-time at a retail store. Part of me felt guilty about that. But then, I'd remember the forged documents, the lies, the months of deception, and the guilt would fade. The trial finally happened in late September. It lasted 3 days. The prosecution presented the forged documents, the DMV records, my bank statements, the insurance company testimony, and that Instagram post. Their case was airtight. Jessica's defense was essentially that she'd believed the car was a shared asset in our relationship, that she'd registered it in her name for convenience, and that the signatures, while maybe not perfectly executed, were done with my implicit permission. The prosecution destroyed that argument. They showed that I'd been making every single payment, that I'd never authorized any changes, and that implicit permission isn't a legal concept when it comes to transferring vehicle titles. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Sentencing was set for 3 weeks later. The judge gave her 18 months in county jail, suspended to 3 years probation, 200 hours of community service, and ordered her to pay me full restitution, $31,000, the remaining balance on the loan, plus impound fees, plus my legal costs. Total came to about $38,000. Jessica broke down crying in the courtroom. Her mother was screaming at me from the gallery, calling me heartless, saying I'd destroyed her daughter's life. The bailiff had to escort her out. After the sentencing, Robert and I walked out together. "That was the right outcome," he said. "Doesn't feel great," I admitted. "It's not supposed to." But she committed serious crimes. Actions have consequences. Update 4. Getting my car back was more complicated than expected. Because it had been evidence in a criminal trial, there was paperwork, processing fees, storage fees. I had to get it re-registered in my name, get new insurance, pay nearly $4,000 in accumulated costs. When I finally picked it up from the impound lot, it was filthy. Jessica had been living in it, basically. Fast food wrappers, coffee cups, makeup scattered in the passenger seat. There was a dent in the rear bumper that definitely wasn't there before. I spent an entire Saturday cleaning it, detailing it, getting the dent fixed. It cost another $800. I added it to the restitution amount my lawyer was collecting. Jessica's parents tried to negotiate the restitution down. They claimed she couldn't possibly pay that amount, that she was barely employed, that I was being unreasonable. "Your daughter stole a car," I told her father over the phone. "The amount she owes is less than the car was worth. She's lucky I'm not suing for emotional distress." "You're a cold person," he said. "I'm a person who got robbed by someone I trusted." They stopped calling after that. I started getting monthly payments in February. Small amounts, $200 here, $150 there. At this rate, she'll be paying me for the next 15 years. I'm fine with that. Jessica tried to reach out one more time, about 4 months after sentencing. She sent me a letter, actual physical mail. It was 6 pages long. She apologized, said she'd been in therapy, realized she had issues with boundaries and entitlement. She said she never meant to hurt me, that she'd convinced herself the car was ours, and that registering it in her name was just making that official. She said she was sorry for the lies, the manipulation, everything. The last paragraph read, "I know you'll probably never forgive me, and I don't blame you. I destroyed something good because I was selfish and stupid. I hope you're happy now. You deserve to be. I'm sorry for everything." I read it twice, then put it in a folder with all the other legal documents from the case. Final update. It's been 8 months since the sentencing. I'm still with Lauren. Things are good, healthy. She has her own car, pays her own bills, has never once asked me to buy her anything expensive. We split everything evenly, and she actually gets uncomfortable if I pay for too many dinners in a row. "I'm not a charity case," she said once when I tried to pick up the check for the 4th date in a row. "I know, I just like treating you." Then let me treat you sometimes too. Relationships are supposed to be equal. That conversation would have never happened with Jessica. I saw Jessica once, about a month ago. I was getting coffee at a place near my office, and she was working behind the counter. She saw me, her face went pale, and she immediately went to the back room. Another barista took my order. I felt bad for her in that moment. Her life had completely derailed. But then I remembered what Robert had told me after the trial. You didn't do this to her. She did it to herself. He was right. My Tesla is paid off now. I made extra payments over the last year, just wanted it done. Every time I drive it, I think about this whole situation, how close I came to just accepting the theft because confronting it felt too hard. I'm glad I didn't. Not because I wanted revenge or because I wanted to hurt Jessica, but because some boundaries can't be crossed without consequences. She didn't just take my car, she forged legal documents, committed fraud, lied for months, and then played the victim when she got caught. Some people think I was too harsh, that I should have just taken the car back and moved on. Maybe they're right, but I don't think you can build a functional society if people can commit felonies and walk away because it's just between partners. The restitution payments still come in monthly. I put them in a separate savings account. When it's all paid off, whenever that is, I'm donating the entire amount to a legal aid organization that helps people who can't afford lawyers. Jessica took something from me. Eventually, something good will come from it. That feels like the right ending. Edit. People keep asking if I have any regrets. Honestly, yes. I regret not seeing the red flags earlier. The entitlement, the what's yours is ours mentality, the way she slowly took over my car without asking. I regret trusting someone who was fundamentally dishonest. But I don't regret pressing charges. Some lines can't be uncrossed. Edit 2. For those asking about the Instagram post, yes, it's still up. Her account is private now, but the post where she claimed she bought the car was screenshot and used as evidence in court. Her lawyer tried to get it excluded, argued it was taken out of context. The judge allowed it. That one post probably added 6 months to her probation.